This is going to be such a great show. We have a little time at the top for some news. I want to tell you about some things in case you haven't been paying attention to the news around your fair city and state. This week, a Springfield man set fire to an ATM to try to cover up the fraudulent deposits he'd been making. He was hoping that the fire would be hot enough to kill the tiny gnome inside that keeps track of all the little numbers and stuff. Police say the man would have gotten away with it too if only he had had a better grasp of security cameras, physical evidence, crime, digital data, the melting point of steel, and especially the way fire and ATMs work. Other than that, it's a perfect crime. He was really close. A woman is suing the city of Portland this week for $60,000 because she broke her foot while standing in line for a food cart. You guys seem mixed feelings on that. That's fine. I'm just going to say right now, I'm just going to predict the next two lawsuits she's going to do. One is for the hospital floors being too cold, and the other one is for her husband for making fun of her for losing her lawsuits against the hospital and the city. I'm not a lawyer, but $60,000 seems pretty high for one foot, right? Like, pretty sure my foot is only worth $10,000, and I'm famous, so. There's some new people here because they didn't laugh hard enough. They think I'm actually famous. Another great lawsuit this week, a woman is suing the Oregon Lottery claiming the video poker machines overestimate her odds of winning. Yeah, it turns out we're not paying for all of these schools and forests by just letting people win at video poker. Apparently she just found out. New study this week, this is the best story of the week by far. A new study out of OHSU scientists proved that birds slur their songs when they're intoxicated. But, according to scientists, they dance way better. So it's worth it. Scientists say that the worst part is that some birds will just keep flying to the KJ booth every 5 fucking minutes and being like, when's my song coming up? When asked why they need to perform a study like this, ornithologists said, hey, a dare's a dare. A dilapidated house in Ashland was recently discovered to actually be the city's first train depot, built in the 1800s and lost for over 50 years. Plans are already... Sorry, there's just a weird... Yeah. Plans are already underway, apparently, to carefully restore the building with the utmost respect towards its history and then sell it to McMinimans. So... it's going to turn out fine. A tanker truck crashed on the Mackenzie Highway and spilled over 1 million salmon onto the highway. You heard this? Somebody heard this? There you are. Yeah, salmon. Yeah, 1 million of them. She's confirmed that this is a real story and we're not just making up a bunch of dumb animal stories this week. Apparently most of the salmon were recovered, but sadly 11,000 of them are now sleeping with themselves. So... Sam? It's a good time for a slow clap. That was exactly right. Apparently, though, at the same time, local bears have been reportedly begun a new religion based on the tanker truck deity. They're all telling their little cubs, they're like, come here, cubs, we have to tell you about the great provider, Optimus Prime. It's my bear impression. I have just one impression, and it's high-pitched bear. The governor of Washington State is proposing this week a 95% tax on all vaping-related products. Not because they're dangerous, they just look hella dorky. Vaping enthusiasts, this is true, vaping enthusiasts in the state of Washington have said they will leave the state if this is enacted. At which point the governor immediately said, did I say 95? I meant 1,000%. Just one person really hates vaping products. Everybody else... Police arrested a man this week who broke into a Kaiser home, drank all of their booze, took a shower, and then chilled in their hot tub. He's being formally charged with relaxing hella hard and going up on a Tuesday. He's also under investigation for 2 counts of being too cool for Kaiser. It's a very serious charge. If he's convicted, he'll have to serve out the rest of his sentence in a Miami penthouse with T-Pain. So, it's a pretty stiff penalty. 2 sheep dressed in overcoats were caught wandering through southwest Portland on the streets. Yep. It is suspected that the clothed sheep were only walking around after their hilarious attempt to get a bank loan failed. Really cute. Car2Go said this week that they're still dealing with the problem of people stealing the wheels off the back of their smart cars. Yeah, come on, Car2Go. If you don't want to stealing the wheels off your cars, don't make them so cute and tiny. Police say they are trying to catch the person responsible for this because they have to say that. They're the police. To finish out the monologue today, we have a couple of other stories that are really interesting that I really want us to talk about, but we have a lot of women's issues in the news this week, and I thought it would be better if we had Bree finish out the monologue today. Is that okay, you guys? Yeah, please welcome back Bree Pruitt for the rest of the monologue.
Thank you very much, Alex. Pretty exciting news. Portland feminist bookstore, In Other Words, has announced that they are staying open after a fundraising campaign. Big fans of In Other Words. I am so relieved. Because Barnes & Noble said they'd call the cops the next time I started reading bell hooks in my outside voice. They're not okay with it. Meanwhile, the men's rights bookstore is doing fine. I don't know if you guys have been to the men's rights bookstore. There's one at Lloyd Center. It's called Lids, I think. This is an interesting story. Some University of Oregon football players will be disciplined for chanting "no means no" at an accused rapist on the opposing team. Yeah. And they are going to be disciplined by the school, but blown by so many women's studies majors, you guys. A former resident of Portland was targeted for speaking out against sexism in the video game industry. And then she was targeted by having a dozen fully armored cops descend on her house, and that's a threat that's known as swatting, a common tactic of the misogynist Gamergate activists. But actually, being duped by chauvinists in the video game community is surprisingly the least embarrassing thing that the police have done in the last couple of weeks, so not too shabby. Finally, this story, 2 Oregon Duck fans got married at the Rose Bowl. Did you guys see that? They got married at the Rose Bowl. Yeah, I know. I imagine their proposal went something like this. Baby, you know how we're super basic? Are we super basic, babe? Yeah, you know how, like, you bought my diamond at Jared and our Outback Steakhouse is, like, our favorite restaurant and we love Maroon 5? What if we got married at the Rose Bowl? Oh, are we gonna wear jerseys like idiots? You know it. Media pundits are still speculating where they're gonna get divorced. Ladies and gentlemen, the women's monologue.
Bree Pruitt, everybody.